what's been fascinating about this backfill is people are coming out of the like absolute woodwork for the job. Like people who I think I competed with to get this job in 2016 are now applying to be a VP of sales in our New York region. It's crazy. Okay, it is Tuesday, April 4th. This is the Token CEO podcast. I'm Erika. I'm the CEO of Barstool Sports. This is episode 272. That's a lot of episodes. We want to give a big thank you to Omega Accounting Solutions. If you are a small business owner and you employed people during COVID, this country should thank you. What this country should also do is give you something called an ERC, which they do. The ERC is the Employee Retention Credit, so that if you employed people during COVID, you are eligible to get up to $26,000 back per employee. How great is that? What's awesome about Omega Accounting Solutions is that their mission is to get you that money and get you the money that you and your company deserves through the CARE Act. All it takes is a quick, easy, and free 10-minute consultation to determine if you qualify. Omega is the small business champion with teams dedicated to maximizing tax credits. CPAs even turn to Omega for ERC guidance. Call 1-855-505-DAVE or visit omegataxcredits.com/barstoolsports now. Call 1-855-505-DAVE or visit omegataxcredits.com/barstoolsports now. All right, so shout out Omega Accounting Solutions. What are we doing here today? It's Monday. I had a great meeting with the Penn people at 9:15 this morning. The call was done by 9:22. I love a meeting like that. Super efficient, which was great. We have a lot going on this week. I'm going to Chicago. I'm going to go meet with Gallo in Chicago, which I'm excited about that. My favorite thing actually about the Gallo deal is when we first did the Pink Whitney deal, I want to say. It was the Pink Whitney deal. I think I flew to Chicago or Minnesota. I can't remember. But the Gallo folks were on the other side of the country. We were obviously here on the East Coast. I think we flew to Minneapolis, met in the airport lounge, and then I flew back that same day. And that's how we got that deal done, which is pretty fun. So I think the cool thing about that is deals can happen anywhere. And if you're willing to get on a plane, there's a good chance that you can make deals happen. Last week ended Q1. We had a great Q1 as a company. We hit our goals, which was awesome. We missed a little bit on some of our internal goals, which is okay. It's always good to push hard and strive for things. I'm sure there's folks here who are pissed off about that, and I think that there's good opportunity for us to improve, obviously. But as far as our revenue and our EBITDA goes, we are doing pretty okay. Also kind of crazy, we promoted one of our salespeople, Ryan McDermott, to run sales for us. So big shout out to Ryan McDermott, and we are backfilling him. And what's been fascinating about this backfill is people are coming out of the like absolute woodwork for the job. Like people who I think I competed with to get this job in 2016 are now applying to be a VP of sales in our New York region. It's crazy. I don't know what is going on in media, but there are so many people looking for jobs. We posted a job for, I think, an accounting manager last week and had 85 people apply in the first hour. Just crazy. So I don't know what's going on in the economy, if it's worse than people think, or just the media sector itself is kind of a dumpster fire. But we are seeing so many people looking for jobs. It's just absolutely crazy. Good for us in that we're hitting our goals and we have the opportunity to grow and we're hiring folks versus laying people off, which I think you're seeing everywhere right now. Twitch is laying off people. Disney's obviously laying off people. ESPN's going to lay off people. Amazon's laying off people. Facebook laid off people and their stock went bananas. I think their stock's up like 300% since the beginning of the year, which is crazy. But I do see something fundamentally shifting in terms of just the health of the media business. I would say the media business is not healthy right now. Speaking of a company that is healthy, though, is that WWE sold to Endeavor, which was announced on Monday, day after WrestleMania, which is genius timing. So huge shout out to everyone at WWE. Endeavor is going to combine UFC and WWE into one publicly traded entity. Ari Emanuel will run it. I have like a whole bunch of thoughts that I probably can't talk about on that, but I think it's exciting. $9 billion valuation. I think Endeavor bought a 51% stake. So obviously super cool for everybody who works for the WWE. I think it'll be interesting to see how they combine the two. Robbie Fox had a great blog on it this morning. Obviously it was a killer. I think it was a killer WrestleMania this past weekend, and people were really excited about it. So that's kind of that's what's happening in the media business. Other things happening at Barstool Sports, we're making a bunch of hires. We just hired a COO, which is exciting. So he will join us in the middle of April. We hired a commercial officer. She will join us in the middle of April. So we're excited for new people coming. There's a lot of change happening inside of Barstool right now, which I think takes time to kind of walk through and work through. I'm not great in that scenario, to be honest with you, because I'm impatient for change and I don't mind it, which makes me not as empathetic as I think I should be or could be, or patient enough to have people work through their stuff with it. But we're getting there. And those are the big things. All right, so I am excited about that Caitlin Clark. I hope she comes on Pardon My Take. I was like all over Kelly Martin yesterday. I was like, we got to get Caitlin Clark in here. Did you see her presser after the game where she was crying? Oh, she was like so cute. I think she is a senior. She was talking like she's a senior. Anyways, long story short, I don't know if anybody watched women's basketball this weekend or watched the Iowa LSU game. Caitlin Clark is the star of the Iowa team. She basically is the Iowa team as far as I can tell. Iowa lost to Kim Mulkey, who's been on this show, who got a lot of shit from the internet, and the LSU Tigers, and the LSU players are taunting the Iowa players. Anyways, very interesting. So anyway, Twitter's all up. Okay, everybody's all upset about Angel Reese and the lack of sportsmanlike conduct, I think from Kim and from Angel, and everyone feels bad for Caitlin Clark. Long story short, I think it's great for women's sports. Like, the more people mad about women's athletics, the better. Like, that's amazing. You know, the other thing I saw this weekend that really pissed me off? So I was watching the Miami Open tennis, insane game between Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz, which was awesome. But then I went to look at the highlights, and I went on Google, and I was like, all right, what are the Miami Open highlights? And at first, for some reason, I was in the doubles category. No highlights for anybody in doubles. And then you get into singles, and there are highlights for every male player and no highlights for any of the female players. How much does that suck? Like, that's ridiculous. You have the fucking highlight, just put it on the Google. So anyways, so that's my rant there. We are going to talk about Oura. Speaking of tennis, speaking of working out, I have my Oura ring. It's amazing. It's connected to an app on my phone. It helps me be in better health. It helps me keep track of working out. I walked to work this morning when I was having my pen phone call, and I was like, shit, I really should like take a cab and get to work faster. But I was like, you know what? Like, I need the steps, and my Oura ring is going to track me having them and tell me what a good job I'm doing today. It's probably the only person telling me I'm doing a good job today. But what's awesome about the Oura ring is that whether it's mental health, physical health, or emotional health, you can benefit from more self-knowledge, and that's exactly what the Oura ring gives you. It gives you accurate, personalized health insights, and during the day, their advanced sensor technology tracks heart rate, calories burned, and activity levels. At night, it monitors your body temperature, sleep quality, respiratory rate, and more. Pretty awesome. Easy to wear, comes in a whole bunch of styles, can match your aesthetic, whatever that aesthetic may be. If you go to ouraring.com, that's OURARING.com/token, you can find the right ring for you and get $15 off your purchase. That's Oura Ring, OURARING.com/token. And don't forget, you can save $15 off your Oura Ring. All right, first Q&A. I've been at my job less than a year, and I've already received a bonus and a raise. Well, that's awesome. At the same time, we hired someone for the same position as me, i.e., we both report to the same manager and do the same task. But the job description has a salary range which is between $20,000 and $40,000 more than I'm making. Can I ask for a raise to this level at the least? Excellent question. There's a whole thing on this, which I think is called wage transparency, which in New York State, employers are required to state the wage for each job, which is probably how you know what your peer is making. I don't think you can go in and ask for the raise, especially since you've been given a bonus and a raise in under a year, which is, I would say, fairly unheard of, or certainly not super, super common and not something you should take for granted. But what I do think you should say is, hey, I saw that, a job for my peer was posted. It makes substantially more money than I do, by $20,000 to $40,000. And I'd like to understand the difference between my position and what I'm earning and this position. So I think that's a great thing to ask for. I don't think you can go pound on the table and say, I want to make $20,000 to $40,000 more. But I do think you can ask to understand why this position is higher than what you make, as well as what your employer thinks you need to do and what they're prepared to do to be able to give you that kind of salary. Ooh, Sophie's choice question next. What's more important in this economic climate? To love your job and be passionate about what you're doing every day, or have good job security, benefits, and compensation? I think this is like an existential question. I would always choose that you should love your job. I think it's incredible if you could love your job and have security and have benefits and get paid. So sometimes you got to give on one thing or another, right? If you really want to work in an area that you're passionate about, and let's say you're passionate about nonprofits, you are not going to get rich working for a nonprofit unless you're embezzling money somehow. So in that case, if your passion is giving, you're probably not going to make as much money as a banker, but you could have job security and there may be benefits that come along with it. If you're just in it for the cold, hard cash and fuck whatever you're passionate about, then go for that. So I would argue that you can probably have your cake and eat it too. You just might need to give a little bit in terms of what is your passion, or how can you find your passion in a place that gives you enough security and gives you the stability and the income you need to live life the way you want to. Okay, I love this. I'm writing in my book about this. So, all right, next question. How do you tell your manager, director during your career conversations that you are okay where you are and that you don't seek to be at a senior level without sounding unmotivated or slacking? I'm at a managerial level. I enjoy my job. I make decent money. I manage a small team. I'm good. I don't seek additional opportunities that are a higher level. And I feel like it's okay because not all of us are cut out to be a director or VP CEO material. Okay, I think this is A-okay. So I think people can get all worked up about like, you should always be striving more, you should always be taking more on, you should always be doing more. Like, I know that I probably sound like one of those assholes that always feels that way. But I was just writing about this because I do think it's really important. There are moments in your life, in your career, in your job, in your day-to-day where you're like, I'm good. I don't need to take on any more. I don't need any more responsibility. I don't want to have to go do all these sales meetings, or I don't want to have to go kiss everybody's ass, or I don't want to travel that much, or I like things the way they are. They're very stable. Or, another part of this is you may need your job to be stable because your life is not stable at the time. And I also think that's totally okay. The people I personally have issue with are the people who are like, the people who don't want to change from where they are, don't want to grow from what they're doing, don't want to extend off of where they're coming from, but they pretend like they do. So I love your point of view, which is, hey, I'm good. I don't think it's really your boss. I don't think you have to declare that to your boss. I don't think you have to say, I don't think I'm CEO material or VP material or director material, because you know what? Someday you might be. And also you may have a change of heart and someday you may want to be. I think it's totally okay though to go to your boss in your quote unquote career conversation and be like, I'm good. Like, I'm really happy. I love what I'm doing. I'm passionate about it. I think I'm doing a good job. Do you think I'm doing a good job? And basically to say like, I'm good. I'm happy where I am. And your boss might say, hey, do you want to take on this particular project or this new responsibility, at which point you say, let me think about it. I really don't want to change the good parts of what I'm doing right now. So anything different I would need to think about. And then if you decide that you do want to, great. And if you decide that you don't want to, you just say, hey, thanks so much for thinking of me. I don't think now is the right time to do this. I'd really prefer to continue to work on what I'm doing now. And then you just do that thing. So you do you. I love that. I've been at my company for 4 years and we've gone through a lot of changes. This is how you know that this is a Barstool Sports employee question. I adore the people I work with. I've grown immensely and I enjoy what I do. However, nothing has really stuck to solve the main problems. However, nothing has really stuck to solve the main problems. I'm starting to think that they are due to a mindset problem from higher ups, and I'm starting to work on coming to grasp with it may be time for me to leave. I'm also writing about this right now. I still have hope that things can change, but I'm also aware that I can't wait for mindsets to shift, especially if I'm being held back. Do you ever think that a company can change if the core of the issue is the leadership mindset? Ooh, this is a big one. No, I don't think your company is going to change. If your leadership does not like change, if your leadership isn't pushing everybody to go further and be better and do things differently and think differently, then it's very unlikely that your leadership itself wants to change, in which case the company's not going to change, your role's not going to change, and your career is not going to all of a sudden take off at this company. Most companies, I think, are like this, especially if you work in a big company. I think sometimes people give a lot of air service or lip service to, oh, we want to solve all of our problems, or we want to tackle the future, but really it's just lip service. I think you would know it if your management really wanted to pursue growth and if your management really wanted to solve the problems that you see as being needed to be fixed, or the problems that you think need to be fixed. Now, one possibility is your managers don't agree that those problems need to be fixed, or your management doesn't agree that those problems need to be fixed. Another scenario is they don't know how to fix them. And a third scenario, which is probably the most likely, is they don't even want to deal with it. I find this is kind of true in a lot of companies. I think it's perfectly okay for you to move on and go. I think you should move on and go. And at the very least, you'll get smarter about what else is out there, what people are paying, what people are doing, how companies are run. Every company has problems. Every company has a management team with problems. The real question is, how much does the management of a company and a company itself want to grow and evolve and change and win? And that's really what you should be interviewing for above everything else. So, all right, let's just talk quickly about MVMT. So if you're out looking for a new job, you probably want to have a great watch. You're probably a little bit worried about money, so you don't want that watch to break the bank, but you want it to look super stylish. You want it to feel great on your wrist. You want it to be able to tell time. So if you're out looking for this job, you want to look great. MVMT also makes sunglasses that I love, but MVMT wants you to know that life is too short to settle for the same old things. Perfect answer to that last question. MVMT keeps your look and your lifestyle fresh with clean watches at a price that will not make you rework your budget. MVMT is led by a small team of dreamers in Venice Beach, California. They have perfected sleek, original, and ultra clean watch design. They have a statement piece that is perfect for you to up-level your life. So you can get a new job and you can get a new watch that helps you get that job. Fresh, modern designs. They're designed to go from a 9-to-5 workday to 5 to 9 good times. That's a good line. They're elegant, precise. They have Japanese watch movement and industry-leading materials from complex ceramics to sophisticated automatic. Make your everyday sidekick for life's adventures a movement watch. Get 20% off at MVMT.com and use code TOKEN. That's 20% off your watch that's going to help you get a new job at MVMT.com, code TOKEN, and 20% off. And that's it for today's episode. Thank you for listening.